What do you mean when you could have gotten traded?
Yeah, like I heard
What's
like
that?
at one point it was like Washington was calling.
Really?
So, yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Bird's Eye View. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, make sure you click that button wherever you get your podcasts. This week, I'm excited to have Las Vegas Aces guard Jackie Young on the show. She's someone who I had to guard towards the end of my career, and so you'll get to hear us chat about that, and we also share a few laughs about that too. I've really always wanted to know more about one specific part of her game, and we'll get to that in a moment. But first, my view of the league. For now, we're still going with Sue's view. All right, first up is a player, and it's this week's Eastern Conference Player of the Week, Natasha Cloud. As of this recording, the Liberty is off to a 4-0 start, in large part because of her impact. She is leading the team in assists at 8.3. That is second in the league and a career high for her. Her shooting percentage is nuts. It's so efficient. 48.9 field goal percentage, 40% from three. She is top 10 in assist to turnover ratio, and that's not to mention the two huge defensive stops to seal their win against the Indiana Fever. What I have noticed outside of the numbers is Tasha's energy. It is infectious. You could feel it when you were in the arena and she was getting the fans excited. You can feel what she's doing for her teammates. You can see it when she does Stewie's bag of the day on her Instagram. But also one of my favorite pictures was of her this last week against Indiana. Somebody caught like an amazing flick, and it's basically Tasha dribbling the ball up the floor with a doo-doo face on her, you know, like a little bit of a look, like something smells, and basically giving the opposing bench the hand. I mean, okay, so that's my player. Now I'm going to move on to a team, and that team is Phoenix. Currently, they're in third at 4-1. They split 2 games with Seattle, and the rest of the wins are against the bottom half of the league, but they're doing it with their defense, and that's really what is interesting to me. They are second in defensive rating. They are third in opponents' three-point percentage, and first in forced turnovers. I mean, really all that says to me is they are all over the place. They are scrambling everywhere. Of course, you've got Alyssa Thomas and Satu Sabally, who are doing the bulk offensively. AT's averaging like 15, 7, and 8. Satu's at like close to 20, 7, and 2. But they also have a little bit of a surprise player. Monique Akoa Makani is an undrafted guard from Cameroon who has played most of her pro career in France. She is averaging 10.5 points, but she's shooting 50% from the field, 52% from the three. And that is good for 8th in the league in true shooting percentage. So the Mercury is a team, like I said, not a lot of people picked them, but here they are. Next up, they've got the Lynx tonight, and I think that'll be a great test for their defense. So that brings me to the last thing that I've been looking at, which is really something I've been taking note of for forever. We all have, right? Threes. How many should you shoot? Does it equate to success? So really the question is shooting a lot of threes the key to winning in the WNBA? And sorry to tell you, I don't have an answer for this season yet because it's too early. As an example, Minnesota, who is 5-0 on the season, are only 8th in the league in three-point attempts. But also because, again, the true shooting percentage is usually the best indicator. But there has been a slight uptick in threes. Right now, the WNBA is a plus 2.3 as a league. And we saw like the Liberty the other day set a single game WNBA record, making 19 threes on 56% shooting. And I'm bringing all of this up because I actually want to take a closer look at Atlanta. So new head coach Carl Smesko is known for his style of play. When he was at Florida Gulf Coast University, they took a ton of threes, and it was really an analytical-based style. So when the Dream went and signed Brittany Griner and Brianna Jones in the offseason, it had a lot of people wondering how this was going to work. So here's the deal. Atlanta is 4-2 on the year, which is maybe better than some thought at the start. They were picked 7th in preseason, and now they sit in 4th. And here's one thing that is happening. They are shooting 11 more threes than they did last year. They are shooting an average of about 31 threes, which is good for 3rd in the league. But they're shooting just 32%, and that's like 10th in the league. So here's where they actually get you. They're 2nd in offensive rebound percentage, and more importantly, 1st in the league in rebounding their own missed threes. They average over 7 a game in that. So you add that to the fact that they're 3rd in second chance points and 2nd in free throw attempts, and now you've got some answers. And no, it doesn't hurt that Alicia Gray is averaging 19 points, 5.5 rebounds, close to 5 assists, and 3 steals, all career highs. And honestly, as somebody who was in the WNBA when the Sacramento Monarchs were in this league and Rebecca Brunson and Yolanda Griffith were completely killing everybody on the boards, I can tell you it is exhausting when you have a team that is going to constantly crash in this way on the O boards. You add the fact that Atlanta has all the height that they have, but it is exhausting. It's a different way of wearing a team down. Speaking of threes, Jackie Young is a player who over the course of her career has extended her range. The WNBA GM survey is out and they have her rated as one of the top 5 best shooting guards in the league. She's a 3-time All-Star, 2-time WNBA champion, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, the number 1 overall pick in the 2019 draft, and an NCAA champion. I talked to her about the journey to being one of the best and what I observed on her way to the top. For me, you know a player is trending up when you see that change in the scouting report. And I remember that moment for Jackie. And I'm excited for you to hear us talk about it right now on Bird's Eye View. I already did the intro, so I already got your resume out there. I was curious if you knew that you can also add to your resume that you ended my career. Do you know that?
Oh, yeah. That is true.
That is true.
We'll add that.
You can put that. Matter of fact, my final play ever in the WNBA was a turnover because you stole it.
Yeah.
So that's on there too.
Yeah, but
but my final points.
Yeah, I knew it was coming.
My final points.
It was on me.
Was on you.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a blow by. Would you call it a blow by?
It was for sure that. Yeah. Still, hey.
I don't get many.
Retiring and blew right by me. I'm like, okay, this is crazy.
No, I actually feel pretty good about that because I don't know if you saw, but that GM survey came out, and you're number 2. You got voted second for perimeter defender.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So I feel pretty
actually.
good about that.
I didn't see that part. Yeah.
Dejanay Carrington's right above you, but
okay.
You didn't see it at all.
I didn't see that. No.
Okay, so you were second in defense, voted second by the GMs, and you were 5th best shooting guard in the league.
Okay.
Any reactions to that? You feel good about that?
I mean, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Obviously, try to get to the top, do whatever I can. On defense, I think that's the biggest thing. I have the toughest assignment usually every night if it's a guard. And so just being able to stay locked in on both ends, I think, is the biggest thing, and being able to play both ends of the ball.
Right. I think what's interesting, so when I think of your whole career, I think what's interesting is we're seeing this version of you now. It's the version that the GMs are voting, top 5, top 2 on defense. I think a version that players would even agree with that. You have respect across the league. But it wasn't necessarily the case your whole WNBA career. You were building to this. So when do you think that shift happened for you?
I would say probably when Becky got hired. Okay. Everything changed. And I think the most obvious thing was shooting threes. She called me not long after she got the job, and she was like, I'm going to need you to shoot threes. You need to take at least 3 a game. And so once she had hired her staff, obviously everybody knows Ty. That's my guy. And so, we just got in the gym, and we made a few minor tweaks to my shot, and it made the biggest difference. And so.
What were the tweaks?
Honestly, I do this thing in pregame, warm-ups, anytime I get on the court, I just tap my hip with the ball before all my form shooting. And so keeping it on the right side of my body, keeping my chin down, those were kind of the biggest things, honestly.
Were you coming across in a weird way at first? Okay.
Yeah, I would come across my face a little bit. And so...
Okay. So it got you lined up.
Yeah. So now it's just kind of how I calibrate every day. So it's just tap my hip and I go through my form shooting. And it's just for me, it's just mental, I do that part. And then now it's I do this part and we go straight into threes. So
yeah. I mean, now Tyler Marsh is who you're talking about, head coach of Chicago now. He's going to be looking on the other end when you play them damn, what did I do? What did I do? But it's crazy because, so you're from Indiana. You went to Princeton High School.
I did.
You're leading scorer, all-time leading scorer in high school, Indiana history. You even, more than the men, you beat out Damon Bailey's record, which is incredible. So if your shot was what it was then, how do you score that many points? What kind of player were you back in high school?
Yeah, I would just attack the basket, honestly.
Okay.
Just try to get to the rim. And so I was able to do that my whole life until I got to the pros, and then it's okay, you need to be able to do more and to be able to shoot the ball. And so in high school, I was just having fun, playing with some of my best friends, and they were getting me the ball. I was getting them the ball, and we were just having fun.
Out there hooping?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Indiana is a crazy state. I feel like you did, like I mentioned a little bit, you have had like this evolution. So I kind of want to go through it. Growing up in Indiana, crazy state of basketball. Was there pressure to stay in state, like to go to Notre Dame? And like, what was that recruitment process like?
No, actually, there was no pressure at all.
Okay.
I didn't feel it, at least. I knew I wanted to go to Notre Dame for a long time. I mean, it was my dream to play for Pat Summitt. I grew up a Candace Parker fan. And
Okay.
so, like, once I knew
I was about to ask, what?
Yeah. Once I knew I couldn't play for Pat,
Mhm.
then I was like, I'm definitely going to Notre Dame. And so just having, like, Skylar going to Notre Dame, being from Indiana, we kind of have, like, that same story. And so I knew I was going to go to Notre Dame for a while. My family, they were Notre Dame football fans.
Okay.
And so I actually...
So did you even look anywhere else?
Not really. I mean,
Okay. It was a
I
done
went
deal.
on visits. I had offers from
Everywhere.
yeah. But no, I knew I was going to Notre Dame. And it's still in Indiana, but it's 4.5 hours away from where I grew up. So it was kind of the perfect distance. My family, they would drive up to every game unless there was too much snow. But like drive there and back same day. And so like it was just the perfect.
Did you know Skylar before?
I didn't, but I went to camp. I want to say I went to camp at Notre Dame like in 5th grade maybe.
Okay.
And was it 5th grade or 8th grade, whichever. But like I went to their elite camp, and that's kind of how it started for me. Like they didn't know anything about me. I got tickets, or got, I guess, this pass to go to camp or whatever for Christmas. And so that's how it worked out. Yeah, Kayla McBride was my first coach there. So it was cool. I got to play with her in Vegas again at Unrivaled. So
Unrivaled. We'll get to that in a second too. Okay, so you said in high school you basically just like drove. You and your friends just having fun. You get to college. How would you describe your game in those 3 years?
Honestly, it was kind of still the same thing. I could still get to the basket. Would shoot the three a little bit, not very much. I think we all know, like, whenever we played against Yukon, they left me wide open. Worked out in our favor that time.
You mean the 32 points? Yeah.
Yeah, but like it was, I mean, my whole career has been people just daring me to shoot. And so at some point it was like, we have to fix this,
Well, I mean, here's my question though. So I looked up some stats. In college, do you know what you shot in college from three?
Oh, I want to go like 23%.
In 3 years, you shot 37% from three.
Okay. Maybe 23 was pro.
You had some ups and downs, but like freshman year, 38. The down was sophomore year. You dropped to 28. But then junior year, 45. Huh. But now ask me how many attempts.
Yeah, low.
0.9 your freshman year, 1 your sophomore year, and then 0.8 your junior year. So to me, what this says, it's like these are decent percentages given how low, which is you could argue even harder to have a good percentage. There's no room for error if you're not shooting a lot. So what was it? Like why didn't you just shoot it?
I would say like in college I didn't really need to shoot it. Like I was still scoring, still able to do what I needed to do until it was just like, okay, like you find like the Yukons or something like that that's gonna expose it and dare you to shoot it. And so I mean honestly it was a confidence thing. Like I could be sitting at the three and they could be at the free throw line and I wouldn't shoot it. Yeah. And it was the same way for my first 3 years in the league. So yeah, I mean I think I was able to get away with it until I finally got exposed.
Right. But, okay, so you're mentioning this Yukon game. So for those that don't know, you guys played Yukon in the 2018 Final Four, the semis, and you explode for 32 points. And it was in that game when you go watch it, and I remember watching it. It was in that game where it's like they were basically like threatening you to shoot, like begging you to shoot. But you did. Yeah. You shot it. You knocked them down. Again, 32 points. So do you look at that moment, and we'll get to how all those games ended in a second. Yeah. Do you look at that moment as any kind of breakout? Like, did that give you any kind of confidence? Or it was just like, that's what I did that day?
I think it was kind of just like, that's what I did that day. I knew going into the game that they were going to dare me to shoot it. And so actually, I remember Enrique, like, gassing me in the locker room before, like, just go shoot it. Like, have fun. Like, you're a killer. Like, just be you. And so I just kind of really, like, listened to her. And I remember... I was talking to Skylar too, like she would like FaceTime Niele, and so like me being from Indiana, oh my God, it's Skylar Diggins, I'm locked in, and so I think I just had a lot of confidence going into that game.
Okay. You bring up Arike.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like playing with her? Like, was she just always a bucket? This is just what it is.
Yeah, I think she's been a bucket her whole life. She can score the ball from anywhere, and so she was able to do that in college. Obviously, we know with the big shots that she hit, but she's always had that scorer's mentality and has been able to get to her spots on the court and to be able to score the ball.
Yeah, so that's like it's pretty early in your career. You got there. She was a sophomore. You're a freshman. You played those 3 years. Do you think that it's a little bit of foreshadowing, right? Like having to play with another great player. Do you think that playing with her that early in your career helped you like learn how to do that?
Yeah, I haven't really thought about that, but now that you mentioned it, like, yeah, like it really did because, I mean, we knew that she was the star there, and it's kind of her team, and that's the same thing here now. And so I think it doesn't make you take a back seat, but at the same time, like, you have stars around you. And I think it kind of makes you want to become great like them. Like, I think Asia is the prime example. Whenever I could have gotten traded, she was always there, And so, like, I think just seeing her, her work ethic and just how much she believes in me and all of our teammates. And so I think just not wanting to let her down, making it a lot harder on her because I knew I was going to be on the floor. So now it's just like, okay, like I can shoot it. I can help space the floor for you, make your job easier.
Right. But back to Arike's game winners.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what do you remember about they go down as two of the best all time, like NCAA tournament, the fact that they're back to back in the semis and then the finals against Mississippi State. I actually went and rewatched. So for the Yukon game winner, you were kind of like, you were trying to come in for like a rebound. You were kind of to the side. But like, what do you remember about that one?
Yeah, I think just watching Rike work out, just
I've seen this in practice all the time.
Just hoping that shot went in. And I think she got the space and separation that she needed, and she was able to get the shot off. And, I was under the basket, just waiting to see maybe there's a rebound, maybe not. But I could see, like, I had a great angle. Like, I knew it was going in.
You knew it was going in?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that was crazy. I was not happy about that one,
for
sure.
And then we almost celebrated, like, a little too much because then, they started.
Got a
Katie
Lou got, like, a decent look.
Yeah,
I know. I was like, where was the timeout? But that's neither here nor there. You fast forward to the championship game. She hits another one against Mississippi State. This time you're inbounding it. And I've heard Arike talk about kind of like, that's not how the play was supposed to go.
Exactly. Yeah.
So take me through from your vantage point.
Yeah. The play wasn't for her, actually. We were looking at Jess.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
when you think about it, that's crazy.
Yeah. And so,
no offense to Jess.
Yeah, not at all. Because I mean, she was a great player for us, and that's what we thought that was the look that we
McCowan
wanted.
fouled out, so she's not in the game. Yeah,
exactly. And so I took a look. I was like, I don't like it. And I had already told Rike before this, like, I'm gonna take a look at Jess. If I don't like it, come get it.
That's something you talked about.
Yeah. So once I took that look, didn't like it. Rike came off, and the rest is history.
The rest is history. You get your first ring. First ring of many. What was it? So you left Notre Dame early.
I did.
Yeah. So after 3 years, that's why I keep referencing those 3 years. Was that a tough decision? And like, what went into your decision?
Yeah, it definitely was a tough decision. But ultimately, I went to Notre Dame because I was going to get the best of both worlds, and I knew that they would prepare me for the next level. But at the same time, I wanted to help my family, and that has always been the most important thing, I wanted to play in the WNBA in order to help provide for my family. And so if I could do that a year earlier, then that's what I was going to do. And so.
Oh, that's interesting. So part of your decision was like the financial part, like becoming a professional to make money.
100%.
To do that.
100%. And I know it wasn't much, but it was a lot more than what we had. And so, I mean, it was definitely a tough decision for me, but I had to just, make the best decision for myself and my family.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's what I did.
No, I love that. Because I think a lot of people talk about the WNBA from a financial standpoint as if it's not the type of thing where you can, help your family out, or you can start a career in that way. I actually noticed maybe like 2 drafts ago, so not this past year, the year before, where players were starting to say that a lot.
Yeah.
Like people like Camila Cardoza is like practically crying, talking about how she's going to change her family's life. So for me, it's like, it's wonderful to hear that this is actually happening.
Yeah.
Obviously getting drafted now is different from when you or I got drafted.
Yeah, for sure.
But
for sure.
neither here nor there. You know, Joelle, she came out after 3 years. She came out early.
Yeah.
Was that like any part of just knowing a player had done it before? Did you talk to her?
Yeah, I think it was, I wouldn't even say easier, but I did talk to her a little bit, and I was just asking her, like, why did she choose to leave? And, like, did she think I was ready? And she's like, you're ready, dog. Like, just do it. Like, just be you, you know? And I think that was the biggest thing, just knowing that, you know, she was a pro and had been in the league for a few years, and she thought that I was ready, but at the same time, it all came down to my family. And that's just like, I just wanted to get, like, you know, feedback, input from other pros. And, like, I had talked to DT too. She was probably like one of the last people I talked to before I made my decision. But, you know, I had to make my decision.
Quick.
Like, so that was also another.
Yeah, for those that don't know, you get like what, 48?
Yeah, well, we only had 24 hours.
Oh, because you went to the finals?
Yeah, so we had 24 hours. And
you gotta make
obviously we lost. So then that made it even harder. My family's with me in Tampa, like, and so it's just like a lot of emotions, but at the end of the day, I knew, like, I had a gut feeling, and so I just had to, like, follow my heart.
So spoiler alert, you go number 1. Did the Aces having the first pick, did that influence anything? Was that a part of it? No? Okay.
No, because I didn't know that I was going to go, like, number 1 or number 2 until after I had declared.
Okay. Then you start hearing conversations about that?
Because, like, leading up to the draft, like, I was, like, I mean, not even top 5 yet. So that didn't really matter. It was just the fact that I wanted to help my family.
Yeah.
But then as time got a little bit closer, then
you started to understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so what was draft night like for you? Like, I'm sure you're hearing, because I remember, like, you start to hear different people say different things about where you might go. Yeah. When did you first start hearing about the number 1 pick? And then what was that night like?
Oh, I don't know if it was like, well, it was right after I had declared, and they were like, she'll either go number 1 or number 2. They weren't sure if there was going to be a trade, but I think I was always going to be in Vegas.
Okay.
And so, yeah, draft night was crazy. Like, I think, you know, like, kind of every year, like, well, as I'm watching the draft, I kind of, like, go back and, like, experience, like, my draft moment. But for me, it was life-changing. I had my mom, my brother, and my sister there with me. And so, just going back, looking at that, like, I'm super happy with my decision. But a lot of emotions, and I just remember being, like, super nervous, like, almost, like, blacking out. Like, I don't really, like, remember the whole moment, you know?
Wait, when you look back, are you happy with your outfit? Are you like, dang,
yeah, I still think my outfit was cute.
Good? Okay,
yeah, I had a little blue dress on. Like, I don't know if I would wear that right now, but I think it's right now we're okay. Like, it still works.
Okay, you're still good. Yeah, wait another like 5-10 years.
Yeah,
that's how mine was, like, so simple. I got lucky.
Yeah,
I wore, like, a black suit. I ended up taking the jacket off, so I just have a tank top on and black pants.
Right.
So it's like, it's not too risky. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so mine aged okay.
Yeah.
But it can be tricky for some.
Yeah.
There's some fits out there where I'm like, oh, man,
looking
you're
back.
Gonna regret that. You're gonna regret that. I actually remember when you declared, I did, like, an interview. And someone was like, you know, who do you think is going to be the number 1 pick? And I actually thought it was going to be you.
Really?
Yeah, because at the time, like, a couple of things. At the time, you were already, like, established as, like, this 2-way player. You know, like, you could play both sides, great size, versatility in that way. But also, like, I saw you as, like, what Vegas needed.
Yeah.
Like, that team, Asia had just finished her rookie year. Obviously, I played against them. And they had, like, something going there.
Yeah.
And you were kind of this, like, a little bit of a missing piece. I mean, fast forward, I look like a genius, but in the moment, you could still even see it. So you get to Vegas. It's your rookie year. Like, what's your biggest adjustment at that point? Like, year 1, what's your biggest adjustment? And was it playing for Bill Laimbeer?
But playing point guard, like, I was playing the 1.
That's right.
So,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, not a 1 at all.
Yeah.
But hey, I guess
when needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think that was hard for me just because I had been, like, I mean, at Notre Dame, I was playing the 3, and then, like, sometimes, like, ATOs and stuff, I would have
Yeah.
the ball, you know,
Bring the
but like
ball up,
I'm
right.
not a point guard at all. So I think having to like run a team and being shy, like it just wasn't great for me. So I think that was probably the hardest adjustment. Like every day was like a test to like be able to lock in on the basketball court, but be able to come out of my shell, because at the end of the day, like I'm running the one,
You're
so
running
I'm
the
supposed to be
team,
telling
yeah.
people like what they're doing, you know?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that your season, both for you was a success. You made all-rookie team, but also your team. You guys were good. And then what was it like midway through the season? Asia hurt her ankle, and that kind of put you in a place where WNBA. It's like the season is so short.
Right.
It's like long, but so short. If you lose a player like that for however long, couple weeks, it can really impact everything.
Yeah, for sure.
So speaking of Asia, like what was like your initial kind of reactions to meeting her, being around her?
Yeah, I talked to her, I want to say on draft night, and like literally since day one, she took me under her wing and kind of just like showed me the way. She had just gone through it. And so, I mean, I knew like early on that she was great. But I think the biggest thing is she's a better person than she is, you know, player. I mean, she's a great player too, but like at the end of the day, like with all the success that she has, like she always checks on us, you know, and make sure that we're good. And so just the way that she just leads the team by example. And I mean, it's a lot with her. It's a lot. Just like I said earlier, whenever I could have gotten traded, and she kind of just stuck through it with me. And she.
What do you mean when you could have gotten traded?
Yeah, like I heard,
What's
like
that?
at one point, it's like Washington was calling.
Really?
So, yeah.
What year is this? Like pre-Becky?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, before Becky. Before
There's
Becky. Yeah, like when I was
pre-Becky.
Yeah,
and
when I was bad. Yeah, and so
you weren't bad.
Yeah, so it just took me a little bit longer to, you know, adjust to.
So you heard that mid-season, that conversations were happening?
Yeah, like
around getting traded.
Yeah.
Dang.
And
What was how did that impact you?
I mean, I think it makes you know like this is real, you know, like lock in, like you have to be better. And so that's for me, like every offseason I try to come back a better player like each year. And so yeah, I mean, Asia's great. And she's helped me. I'm going into my 7th year now, and she's been here the whole time. Just making sure I'm good, you know, pushing me, believing in me, making sure I have the same confidence in myself that she has in me.
What is it about? Because by the way, just outside looking in, like whether it's on social media or just the way you guys interact with each other, you can tell that she's that kind of a leader. You can tell that, I don't know, there's like something, you guys always have good vibes, good chemistry, both like you take it seriously when you need to take it seriously, but then you have fun when it's time to have fun. And I feel like she kind of leads the way in that. But I'm curious if there's anything about like her routine and her process that you think goes unnoticed by people from the outside.
Yeah, I think the amount of time that she puts in, like people don't know the work that she's putting in, the late nights, the early mornings, staying after practice to become great. And so that's the stuff that she doesn't let the outside world see. But I think, you know, just we know that she's the star of the team. This is her team, but she takes care of everyone.
Yeah.
No matter if you're a starter, if you aren't getting any minutes, like she has her own relationship with each person and makes everyone feel special.
Okay, so real quick, you had mentioned like playing with Enrique, right? Like you learning how to play with a star player. Now with Asia, you're also, you know, because of that experience, you're able to take that outside of three-point shooting, which I know is a big part of the shift that we're about to get to. Outside of that, is there anything else that, you know, you feel like you had to do to complement Asia?
I mean, it was tough at first, you know, just being able to adjust to the speed of the game, the pace, the physicality, all of that. But then just being able to play with an actual superstar, but at the same time thinking like no back seats. Like that's something that me and Tyler always say, like no back seats. Like we know Asia's a star, but you still have to do your part.
Right.
And it makes her job 10 times easier.
Right.
So
yeah, that's cool. Okay, so I already mentioned 2019, great rookie year. You make the rookie team and you start every game. But then we get to 2020, which is the bubble season, and you don't start.
Right.
So that had to have been difficult. So what was that like for you?
Yeah, it was difficult, but at the same time, I knew I was still going to get minutes, and so I just tried to.
So your minutes were actually higher in 2020.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so like Bill had talked to me, and he was just like, "We need a spark off the bench."
Okay.
And so I didn't get in my head too much and think like, "Oh, like I'm not starting, like I'm not going to have an impact or anything like that," because I was still playing more, and I was able to come in, and they wanted like a spark on defense and on offense too, and so it was different for me, but at the same time, I just tried to switch my mindset and still have a positive mindset going into it.
Right. So that season, you guys go to the finals. Obviously, you played us.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, you know what I remember about that? The game 1 and game 2 were like, we would get these leads, you guys would come back. We'd get these leads, you guys come back. But then game 3 was like, it felt like everyone was like, let's just go home.
Yeah.
Like that's how game 3. Is that how it felt on your side? We were always so curious.
No.
Because we wanted to go home.
Yeah, for sure.
So it was like, let's just get out of here.
Yeah, everybody was tired of being in there.
Yeah. And then remember by the end, they kind of made, so in our bubble season, some of us were in the hotel, some people had like villas.
Yeah.
But by the end, as it started getting like less and less teams, they moved everyone to the hotel.
Yeah.
So then it was just us.
Yeah.
It was just your team, our team, just like in the hotel.
Yeah, and just be
just
like passing by.
Hey,
like,
yeah.
We just got smacked, but here, like,
So losing in that finals, how do you think that like motivated you?
Yeah, I think it definitely motivated us. And then we also had like experience, like, okay, now we've been here before and we know how to, handle this. And it sucks, making it that far to lose. And so it's like, okay, we want to be on the other side of this. But I think it taught us a lot, and I mean, you guys were obviously great that year. So it was already tough, going into it, just with the circumstances being in the bubble. But I think it kind of helped us for the championships that we did win.
Yeah. I mean, so I like to remind people of this sometimes, like in the WNBA, yes, the best team generally wins, right? Like, or if there's like 2-3 best teams, quote unquote, somebody rises to the top, but there's always a little bit of luck. And you guys lost to Erica Hamby that year, like right before the finals. And I look back on that series, I mean, it could have been totally different.
Right.
Now, the same can be said for other teams at different points, but there's always like a little bit of luck.
Right.
And I bring that up because we fast forward to the next year, Chelsea Gray joins the team, and that kind of changes everything, right? Like now you've got the point guard entering the picture. Talk about playing with Chelsea.
Yeah, I think Chelsea coming to the Aces kind of changed everything for us. Everyone knows what she can do on the court, but I think it's just the leadership that she brought. She had won before, and she's a vet. And so I kind of really just like latched onto her. Like, me, I'm always asking questions. I'm going to be right there. And so she just kind of changed it for us, really. I mean, whether she's on the board or just her voice, her leadership, and just the way that she sees the game. Like, I mean, even today, I'm always in her bag trying to steal something, So I think just having her there and then her combined with it brought a different look for us for sure.
Yeah. You guys had high expectations that season. Yeah. 2021 had high expectations, but you lose kind of, sort of unexpectedly. Like Phoenix was tough. And 2021 was a really interesting year, I think, in the WNBA. It really was anyone's year.
Right.
Like, I don't remember exact seeding, but like Phoenix and Chicago, who got to the finals, they were like a 5 and a 6 seed.
Yeah.
So it was a weird year in that way, but I'm sure losing in the semis to them, 5-game series, came down to the end, was tough. So having back-to-back losses, you didn't have Plum either in the 2020 season, but now you kind of are at full strength, but you still lose in the semis. I imagine the back-to-back like playoff losses was tough.
Yeah, for sure. But I think we kind of used that as a learning experience, and kind of got us over the hump. Like, okay, now we've been here before. We have the pieces that we need. And now we just have to put it together. And so I think having Chelsea being a vet and like her just talking us through kind of like our championship run and obviously not winning and then winning the following year. And so, I mean, just having great vets around us, I think, was the biggest thing. But then obviously, you know, Becky is great. Yeah, Becky's great. Yeah, I mean, I always say, like, Tyler and Becky changed my career for sure. And, yeah, I mean, just by shooting threes and then obviously starting to expand off of that. But, yeah, I think getting there in the bubble and then again against Phoenix. It's crazy. We actually just talked about that because Dana was like, yeah, we didn't want to see y'all in the finals. It's like, we were this close. Yeah. We were this close.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to see you in the finals that year either.
Yeah.
Speaking of other like life-changing, career-changing moments, you also were an Olympian that year in Tokyo. I need to understand and hear the story about you sitting on a beach and getting a phone call. Yeah. Can you take us through that?
Yeah, so I was in Florida. I don't remember exactly where, but I was with my sister and a couple of our best friends. And so, like, I would never go on vacation ever. Like, obviously growing up, we didn't go on vacation. But, like, this one, I'm like, okay, like, let's go. So I'm like, guys, I only got, like, 4 days in me. Like, that's it. Like, and so then it was, like, late at night, the night before we were supposed to leave. And I see, like, this number. I think it was, like, a Philly number or something. I'm like, all right, maybe I should answer this. So I answer it. And then as he started talking, he's like, hey, what are you doing?
Busy?
Yeah, like, where are you? And I was like, oh, like.
Do you have COVID?
Yeah, that was a question too.
Oh,
like,
I bet.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you know, I just been in Florida. Like, he's like, oh, like that changed it. And then he was just like, you know, like we think somebody tested positive for COVID. We need you in Vegas tomorrow morning. It worked out. Like, I was leaving that day anyway. I obviously would have left anyway. So I flew out to Vegas and started going through the testing protocol myself. Ended up being negative. And then I run into Chelsea and like, as I'm getting tested, they're like, what are you doing here? And I was like, oh, gosh. Like, I wasn't saying anything. Yeah, I was like, I wasn't saying anything because I didn't know if I had it or not. Like, you know? And, like, I'm just chilling, whatever. And so they see me. But, like, that was honestly, like, the craziest, like, 24 hours of my life because I fly back to Vegas, go through the testing, and it's like, okay, now this person does have COVID. We need you to fly to Tokyo. So I flew to Tokyo. I want to say, like, I left Florida on Sunday, flew to Tokyo on Tuesday. And so, like,
you're, like, playing on Thursday.
Yeah. Yeah, it was that fast. And so, like, they're teaching me the plays. Like, obviously, like, I'm thinking, like, I didn't make the team, so I hadn't been playing 3-on-3. Like, you know, like, I'm just going to be watching. And so now it's like I have to completely flip my mindset and be able to pick up on these plays, the defensive schemes, everything. But, I mean, honestly.
Worth it?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't change it, obviously. Like,
from what I understand, like, for those that don't know, the 3x3 national team process is like this whole crazy point situation where you got to play in like sanctioned 3-on-3 events to get points, game points. You were, I think, like the only one eligible to replace Katie Lou Samuelson. Yeah, like who's the one who got COVID.
Right. Yeah, I had played in the camps, like leading up to it, getting all the points. Just unfortunately didn't make the team. And then she tested positive, and so I got the call.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, in your career, you've played overseas a bunch. You played in Turkey, Israel, Australia. Which, outside looking in, I just remember, again, mostly on social media, like you were playing really well. Like something was building, and that was like 2021 into 2022, and now we finally have arrived at what I call. I mean, I'm not joking when I say this. Your jump from just 2021 to 2022 is probably one of the biggest leaps I've ever seen in my career. Just seeing a player, what felt like overnight, change their game. But in reality, and you've said it, it really was just your three-point shooting. Yeah. You kind of had everything else. Up until that point, you know, from 2019, you're shooting like 32%. Again, not terrible percentages. 23, 25.
Yeah, see, I knew there was a 23 in there. I knew it.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. The scouting report was go under.
For sure.
You know that.
Yeah, why are we going over? There's no reason to.
Even when we played you in the finals, it was like go under and honestly be in help.
Yeah.
Like this is the one we can help off of.
Yeah, for sure.
But again, your attempts were so low. It's crazy. And then in 2022, you jump up to 43% on 3.5 attempts. 2023, 45% on 5 attempts. Yeah. And then last year you shot 34%, but on 5.5 attempts. So, I mean, it's really incredible. And we already talked about Tyler and the impact there. Tell me about Becky's impact on you in this way.
Yeah, I think it's just the confidence that she had in me. You know, she was very vocal about it. She was vocal about what she needed from me. And so for me, it was just like, okay, if she has this confidence in me, I have to have the same confidence in myself. And so I kind of just like flipped my mindset. And then I just got in the gym and I was just working my butt off, you know, every day, so that I had confidence, so that I would have confidence in order to shoot in the games, because we all know that I'll be sitting at the 3 and you could be at the free throw line wherever you want to be.
Fuck.
Yeah, it really is.
It really is.
Yeah.
That's a mental hurdle you had to get over.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it was just, you know, like positive self-talk. I had like a sports therapist and things like that. So kind of like talking me through it a little bit. And I think that's the biggest thing. But I think Becky's impact and just kind of like the swag that she brings, the confidence that she brings, and then me just having a whole lot of respect for her, you know, and for my teammates. And it's just like, okay, I want to be the best player that I can be so that we can win.
Mm-hmm. Well, you do. You go on to win. You win your first of 2. Obviously, you guys went back-to-back starting in 2022, but you also win Most Improved Player. What's your take on Most Improved? Because you know Plum. Yeah. Plum won it either the year before or the year before that, and she was like, I don't want this shit. Yeah. She's like, I don't want Most Improved. Do you have like a take on that? Are you proud of that?
I mean, I am proud of it. Okay, because
good. You should be.
Like it was a long journey for me. We know my first 3 years in the league were very difficult, and so I'm proud of being the Most Improved Player that year, and I think it just shows how much work that you put in, and it's hard, whether it's a mindset or all the physical aspects, but I think being rewarded for that is pretty cool and pretty special, and it's cool to see and like look back at some of the Most Improved Players and see like where they're at today.
Yo, you know what the craziest part is? I always thought this was so weird. Leilani Mitchell won it twice. I'm like, should you be like, once you win it once, you're out? That's it?
I don't know, but if you have like a significant jump again, like.
But what if you like go back down and then you go back up?
Yeah, I don't think it works that way. Only if you're like, okay.
You got to just keep going up.
Just keep going up.
Okay, fair.
Like significantly. Yeah.
So like I said, you guys went back to back. Actually, real quick, which was harder? The first one in 2022 or the second one in 2023?
Oh, I mean, the second one is hard. I think harder because you have that target on your back. Yeah. And everybody wants to beat the champs, you know? And so just dealing with that, you know, everybody's playing their best game against you every night. Right. So
that's true.
I think win the second one.
Okay. Well, 2023 did end up becoming like this year of super teams. So first of all, like, what's your thoughts? Do you have a thought on being called a super team that year?
Yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily think we were a super team, you know, like these were some of the pieces that we drafted. And so we were together for years, you know, and finally got to that point where we were winning. Yeah.
Yeah. That's also when the Liberty rivalry starts to take off a little bit. You know, you guys got them in 2023, then they got you in 2024. It's always so fascinating because these are players that, you know, you're playing with, obviously your teammates in Vegas, but then you fast forward to 2024 and you're playing with the Liberty players at the Olympics. Is it weird to have to do that?
For me, no, not at all.
For me, it wasn't weird either.
Yeah,
it's just like, it is what it is, what it is.
Yeah, like you're playing on the Olympic team, the national team, you know? And so like, it's not a hard switch for me. Like I'm super blessed and like happy to be here. So it's easy for me to switch that mindset. And a lot of times, like me and Sabrina, we would shoot together after practice. And so I think at the end of the day, we're all coming together and we all have the same goal, and that's winning gold.
Right. Right. Yeah. I know people ask that question all the time, and I kind of wanted to ask it to see if you had a different take, but it's like, nah, we'll probably go to dinner after all. So it's not that big of a deal. But 2024 was a tough year for you post-Olympics. We had talked prior to starting this, so I'll just mention it quickly. You had some calf stuff going on prior to the Olympics, but then in the gold medal game, you ended up hurting your knee a little bit. So just what was it like being injured and having to play through it is always tough. Honestly, your team was banged up that whole year. Chelsea missed a bunch of games. Right. By the way, do you know that your assists like skyrocketed?
I don't know what the number was.
Bro, you were like, in 2024, your assist jumped from 3.8 to 5.3.
Really?
So the playmaking, yeah. And I'm sure some of that was Chelsea wasn't there. You had to do a lot of the playmaking, but just FYI.
Yeah.
So you got that. Don't forget about that part. But you had to play like sub 100% for majority of that final run.
Right.
How's your knee? Are you healthy now? And then if you could take us back to 2024 in that run, just how frustrating that was.
Yeah. I guess I'll start with, coming, I guess, off the Olympics. Gold medal game is whenever I knew, like, oh, yeah, like, something's not right here. And so actually after the game, like, I couldn't even, like, straighten my knee all the way. Like, it was just
yeah.
I don't know what was going on. And, like, even getting up on the podium to get our gold medals, like, so, like, I'm in pain this whole time. Wow. And then, so then we come back over here, like, to the United States, and I'm like, nah, something's not right. And then I was just like, okay, I know, my knee is messed up, but let's try to get through this. And so I tried to finish the rest of the season, ended up being trash, obviously. But...
I'm like, you weren't trash. But I
definitely.
Hear you.
But and like you're getting all this stuff from social media, whatever. But
stay off social media in the playoffs.
Yeah. I'm just like, I know I'm hurt. The team knows I'm hurt. Like, we're just trying to figure this out. And so, I mean, it was frustrating, going from playing so well to like having a significant drop off, and us being the only people that know, and so
it's the hardest part.
Yeah, and so trying to just, like, make sure that you're good and not worry about, like, what everybody's saying on social media, and just staying true to yourself and keeping, your circle small, and just being you. But, so that went on for a while. And then I played unrivaled, still wasn't myself, really. Tried to come back too early. Okay. But no, I think we're finally back to where we need to be. I feel good. We're in a good spot.
All right. That's good to hear. I got a couple more for you. We're now at the 2025 season. It has started. The season's going to look a little different for you guys, given the trade. But before we get to that, you can make an argument that the backcourt of you, Plum, and Chelsea is one of the best in WNBA history. I would say you could put like Mo and Maya, Lindsay Whalen in that. There's like a Diana, Cappy, Penny argument. Right. But where do you think you stack up in that argument?
We actually talked about this not too long ago. But I think, we were one of the best backcourts then. I think everybody was like flirting with, 50, 40, 90 that year. That would have been 2022.
Yep.
And so like we're all playing great, and just really flowing and playing with a lot of fun. And I think, I mean, looking back at that, we were tough that year. But I'm gonna put us up there. I mean, I guess, we won, so we'll go with.
Yeah. Does it make you sad that the backcourt, in a sense, like you won't get to see like how many it could have won?
Yeah.
And by the way, that doesn't mean you're not moving on. Doesn't mean you're not okay with everything. I feel like I can think of teams I was on where I'm like, man, I wonder what would have happened if we had like 4 more years.
Yeah. No, we talk about this, like how hard it is to win 3 in a row, and kind of how hard it would be to do it again. And so like if there's just like a couple things that like we wish we would have done differently, and so it's just it's hard to win one. It's hard to win back to back, and obviously we didn't get that 3rd one. And so I mean, like looking back, it is sad. Like dang, like we're not gonna have this opportunity again. But then also being, I guess, okay with what we accomplished during those few years.
Yeah, you should be very okay with that. Yeah. So the trade happens. So Kelsey Plum is no longer here, but Joelle Lloyd is. What is she bringing to the group?
Yeah, Joelle is great. She's won, and she's a vet. I think, her work ethic, just being able to be in the gym with her every day and see the work that she puts in, how early she gets in to get her work done, and then just being able to stay with her after practice and get shots up. But she's great. She's not obviously the loudest in the room, but I think her presence speaks for herself. Mm-hmm. And like, you look over there, like, that's Joelle Lloyd, and she's my teammate, so being on this side of it with her and not having to guard her,
yeah.
like it's cool. I think it's going to be fun. And it has been fun, just playing with her for these past couple weeks. But I mean, Joelle's great. Yeah. I mean, I love Joelle, so.
Yeah, you got that Notre Dame thing going.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of the same story, really. So being able to be teammates, in the pros is pretty special.
That's awesome. So what gets the Aces a ring this year?
I would say, the sacrifices that we're making in order to get the job done. We know that we all are coming here to win a championship. And so I think everyone just having that winning mentality and mindset, and knowing that the goal is a championship. And so whatever that takes, whatever that looks like, whether it's on the defensive side, the offensive side, I think everybody just knowing that we all have the same goal.
All right, there it is. Jackie, thanks so much for coming in. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Good luck this year.
Thank you.
All right, you heard it from Jackie. I mean, I said it on the pod. I don't know that I've seen a turnaround like that. What she did in 2022, the ability to go from not being a three-point threat to being a very efficient three-point threat was truly amazing. Something that we didn't get into. Not only that, Jackie is, as of last year, one of the best finishers at the rim among guards, shooting 73.8%, and she's fourth in mid-range shooting at 44.3%. And that was last season. So she's got a complete game, and it really is fun to watch her. I think my favorite part was just hearing her talk about how playing with other great players allowed her to find her own greatness. But more than anything, being around coaches that believed in her really helped turn things around. I can think of, honestly, tons of coaches. I'm lucky in that way. Brian Agler comes to mind. He joined the Storm in 2008, and I was in a place where I was kind of plateauing. He gave me confidence. And then everyone's heard me talk about Jenny Busek and the impact she's had on my career. So that really resonated. And I guess I'm just going to finish it off with Jackie's own words. No back seats. See you next week. This episode is a co-production of Together and Vox Media. Our producers are Tommy Alter, Jason Gallagher, Richie Bozek, Harry Krinsky, Jess Clarendon, and Jasmine Ellis.
Deuces.